All right, now that the Henny Derby is done, we are well into week 27 of the League One season. Welcome to another edition of League One on the Rocks. My name is Rich. You can find me on Twitter at I'm Rich, but I'm not. And the man opposite me here in the stream is Brian. You can find him on Twitter at Mediocre Ace. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. No internet issues tonight, so we're already off to a better start than we were yesterday.
Yeah. So now that you were absent to the world, what were you doing?
I was enjoying some offline family time.
There you
Went
go.
outside and played soccer with my son for quite a while yesterday, and found out that my knees are not the same as they were 5, 10 years ago. That's for sure. And my son's favorite player apparently is Messi. So he was playing as Messi for Inter Miami, and I played as Ronaldo for Al Nasser. And
Ooh,
Zayn ended up winning the matchup 7-6. So
ooh, nice. He's got some good form. If you haven't seen Brian's son play soccer,
hmm,
he's got potential. He's gonna be
yeah,
up there.
yeah, he got to do the skills challenge last year, which was really fun.
Yeah,
So who knows? We'll see how he goes. He's right now he's bouncing forth between football and football. So
there you
we
go.
play those on every other day. We'll switch to the other one. So fun
That's
time.
cool.
It's good that he's getting into the sports now. So
Yeah. I got to have a couple of calls with some friends last night, helping one of them out. Yeah, we were just chatting about like this weird situation going on. It was soccer related. Um, and then the other one was a lengthy video call, and it was an awesome one. So it was a really cool night. It
yeah,
was a fun way to spend
you
the evening.
yeah you definitely need those every once in a while.
Yeah,
We're going back to like pandemic times, video chatting, hangouts, and doing all that kind of stuff. So
yeah. I don't do video calls that often, and so to be able to be on a video call, with a friend and hanging out and chatting for, hours. It was a great time. So it was definitely one of those feel good kind of nights.
awesome. Always a good time.
And speaking of, feeling good, because of your friends and all that kind of stuff. I want to send a special thank you out to everybody who, um, responded to my tough scenario on Monday. It was certainly a rough day for me, and having everybody send those messages, the texts, the DMs, liking the post, just responding to that situation the way that they did. I really appreciate it. I didn't respond to every single message that came in, but just know that I read them all. And it certainly felt very good to have all of you supporting me. So, thank you very much. I genuinely mean that. Thank you. It was a rough day. So, yeah. Well, with that said, Brian, what are you drinking tonight?
I'm on still on my water kick, man. Um I got this new routine that I'm trying to get into of getting back up to drinking more, like about a gallon or so of water a day. So trying to get back into the swing of that, which is a lot more difficult than you would imagine. So
Nice. I am going with Corona tonight.
very
So,
nice.
yeah, I have a few of these next to me, and if I need to replenish myself, I can always get up and head over to the beer fridge and get some more.
Beautiful. Love it.
Yeah. Well, while I'm cracking into this bottle here, uh, week 27 has already begun. Like we said, Henny Derby is over. It was a 2-0 win for Forward Madison. Um, I was texting Brian earlier today because when Madison released their starting lineup, I texted him and said, I don't know if I feel so good about my prediction of a Ford Madison win anymore because um, I felt like they were putting out a roster or the starting lineup that was kind of more subdued than I was expecting.
Hmm.
But hey, they came out with a 2-0 win, so
Yeah. And I mean, that
good for them.
Madison is one of those teams that will have weeks where they don't look very good and then weeks where they look like world beaters. They have been that team this year. Um, and it just they came up against a Richmond team tonight that showed why they are at their point in the table. I mean, just not a whole lot that they could have done tonight to get that win. So credit goes out to Madison for sweeping the Henny Derby. That's a big deal, and I know Madison supporters tonight are going to be partying it up, even though it's a school night.
I don't think there's been a 3 straight win in that, matchup either, so this is
Hmm.
a big one for them.
Hmm.
And, think about the consequences of the implications, keeps Madison in the playoffs, or the playoff, um, talk, they're above the threshold. Oh my gosh, look at me. And in doing so, it actually keeps Richmond even farther from making the playoffs. So,
Hmm.
is this the week that we say that Richmond is done? Was this the nail in the coffin?
I unfortunately for Kickers fans, I think so. They're sitting on 28 points right now, 28 matches played, well below the point and a half average threshold that we set out at the beginning of the season as kind of the bar to pass. And with the playoff point threshold being probably somewhere around 50 points or so, I just don't think they can make up that much space in the amount of time they have left.
Yeah, I agree. I think this season is over, but they did still make some cool signings here recently. They signed 2 teenagers, to the roster, so that's gonna give them a bright future for next season.
Hmm. Always good to see younger guys get signed. And with, I guess, one fortunate thing about their struggles at the end of this season here is maybe those players will see some playing time this season, which is only a good thing going forward. And, we've seen players come in their first season and not play as well. And then their second season really tends to be the breakout season for a lot of these players. So hopefully they can get some of these guys in and playing on the roster this year and see what they can do next year.
Yeah. And I mean, still, when you look at the Richmond roster and you look at the names that they have, that's still a team that could do some serious damage. Um,
Yeah.
it's unfortunate that it didn't happen this season, but I mean, if I'm a Richmond fan, I'm even though I'm down in the doldrums about this season, I'm still feeling confident about next season.
Yeah. And I think that's only right. I mean, there's very few teams that can go year in and year out being on top of the standings. And I mean, I think I'm not going to say anything crazy that Richmond fans probably wouldn't say themselves here, but Richmond has severely underachieved this season. With the talent that they have, that roster, that team should be better. But you know what? Every once in a while, you catch unlucky breaks, man. And I feel like that's been Richmond's season, has been just one bad break after another. So,
Yep.
um, like you said, Rich, I mean they've got talent and they'll be just fine next year.
Yeah.
I have no doubt about that.
And speaking of tough results down the end stretch, flipping the script and looking at Ford Madison, they are a team that if you look at, I mean, even from their inception, this is a team that hasn't exactly closed out seasons in the strongest of fashions or even the most convincing of fashions. Um, there was a stat on the league website here. Um, the Flamingos have won less points through their final 10 matches of a season in each of their previous 4 seasons. And if you look at their remaining schedule for this season, they have the toughest remaining schedule of any club in the league.
Hmm.
So makes it even better that they won tonight and they got those 3 points. It gives them a little bit of security as we get into those final matches.
Yeah, I mean, obviously with it being the biggest derby in League One and the best derby in League One, it feels good to win that. But definitely, exactly what you said. They have had struggles late, and this should be a huge confidence boost for them. Um, and it's going to build momentum into the second part of the last part of the season. I guess I don't know where I was headed with that one, but
Okay.
they're going to build some momentum for the playoff push that is going on right now. So um, definitely being a Madison supporter right now, this win has to feel doubly good. This keeps you in the playoff threshold and puts you a few points ahead of Greenville in the sixth position. So,
Yeah. And they are going to need those points because if you look at the remaining schedule, they have two matches next week. They go to Northern Colorado and then they go to Charlotte. Northern
yikes.
Colorado, not easy to win in Windsor. And then you follow it up by going to Charlotte, not an easy place to win. Let me take a look here. You can hear those pages. That means we got impromptu research here. Charlotte at home is second in the league. Um, so they're going to the second place. They're starting with Northern Colorado, who's third place in the league at home, and then finishing off the week at Charlotte, who is the second place team at home in the league.
Hmm.
That's not a fun schedule.
Yeah.
Then, if you go beyond that, they host Lexington, and Lexington is no easy win.
Nope.
And then they go to Northern Colorado again before hosting Union Omaha.
Yeah.
That's rough.
4 matches with the top 4 clubs in League
That's
One.
that's where I was going to. You
I
beat me
mean,
to it.
and they also have Lexington, which let's not forget, Lexington is one of those teams that when they're on, they are on.
Oof,
They
yeah,
they when they are on, they are one of the better teams in this league, but they
yeah,
are not consistent enough to be a great team.
yeah,
So Ford Madison's got their work cut out for them if they want to rewrite the history books here. I know they've had struggles late and they've kicked themselves out of playoff position multiple years now, but
yeah.
um, this is also a completely different Madison team. I feel like Glazer has also kind of built this team up to be a little bit more headstrong than teams of the past. So if there's a team in the league that can go on a schedule like this and you can feel somewhat confident with, I feel like if you're a Madison supporter right now, you're feeling pretty decent about your chances.
Yeah, and recent news out of that club, they signed Ozzy Ramos from Central Valley Fuego, and they signed a second Ramos. Let me pull up his first name here really quick. Um, do. Jason Ramos out of Minnesota United too. So he's going to help them on defense because I think they're missing Timmy Mel on the back line. So
Yes.
they're missing Timmy Mel on the back line, and they're missing Chelo Martinez in the midfield. So having those two Ramos players come in and fill those holes
Mhm.
is going to be very important for them.
Yeah. I mean, Cello was on the bench tonight though.
He
So
was, yes,
that is a good sign that if not ready for the Wednesday match, should be ready for the Saturday match if I had to venture a guess there, because generally you don't see guys on the bench unless they're pretty close to being ready to go.
yeah. So it's good to see him bouncing back and getting back into actually dressing and being on the
Yeah.
bench.
That definitely helps their chances because he is sorely missed in that midfield.
Yeah, yeah. All right, let's jump ahead here. Oh, let me circle back to this one here. So in week 26, when we were doing our predictions, Brian and I had our own level of accuracy with the matches. We did not come close to the fans. The fans were amazing. The fans in the polls that we put on Twitter uh, guessed every single result correctly except for one, and it was the
Ooh,
Lexington Central Valley chaos match. to close out week 26. So to the fans, congratulations. That was an awesome performance. Um, Man, that was getting every single one of them except for one.
I know I
That's
ain't
cool.
that accurate.
Yeah,
Great
yeah,
job, guys.
yeah. And a special shout out to, uh, oh, who was it? It was Nick over at Linners and Woozers. For both of Sunday's matches, he got the scores perfectly correct. Um, both the 2-1 victory for Northern Colorado over Tormenta, as well as the 2-2 draw between Central Valley and Lexington. So Nick over at Linners and Woozers, great job, man.
Good job.
All right, let's jump into the next week 27 match here. And we have North Carolina hosting South Georgia Tormenta. And if you remember going back all the way to week 1, Tormenta got the 1-0 victory on the road. So this one is split between Tormenta and North Carolina. They both have one win in this match or in this series. So Saturday evening's match decides it,
Man.
and this one's going to be good.
Yeah. This is I mean, you got the number 1 team in the league versus a team that wants to get back into the playoffs and has a long road ahead of them if they want to do that. So, um, both teams I feel like are going to be playing with a little desperation. I think NCFC realizes, oh shit, I have 2 teams behind me that both want the number 1 spot. So let's kick it into overdrive here. And then you have obviously Tormenta, reigning champions, want to get back into the playoffs and prove that last year wasn't just a fluke occurrence or a well done performance for just 1 year. They're definitely going to want to be getting back into the playoffs. Um, so lots to play for in this match as well.
Yep. And North Carolina could be the first League One team to lock up a playoff position on Saturday. I'm sorry, if you look at North Carolina, Northern Colorado, and Union Omaha, they all could lock up a playoff spot this weekend.
Hmm.
But with North Carolina kicking off first, they could be the first one to nab a spot in the playoffs. Their magic number is 1, so I mean, even if they draw, they
They're in.
they're in the playoffs. Whereas Northern Colorado and Union Omaha need 3 points. So if they win, they're in.
A lot to play for.
Yeah. And just like we said with Tormenta scoring a lot on the road, they went into Northern Colorado armed and ready to go. But I mean, they were facing off against that tough defense there. Um, it's going to be interesting to see how their offense matches. Excuse me, matches up against North Carolina's defense here. I feel like when we've watched North Carolina, they're much more patient with the ball,
Mhm.
and they're not afraid to absorb attacks, whereas with Northern Colorado, it almost seems like they're in a rush to get the ball and go back onto the counterattack. I feel like North Carolina, they have that confidence where they'll wait until you make a mistake, they'll pounce on the ball, they'll get the ball rolling. Um, so it's a different sense of urgency between North Carolina and Northern Colorado, but I think North Carolina is still gonna be a stout defense. Um, it's just gonna be a matter of how many. I think the key stat here is how many shots they can block against I'm sorry, uh, Tormenta, because you know that Tormenta is gonna take a lot of shots.
Mhm.
Um, and so if you can lighten the load for, the defense, the, goalkeeper, you're gonna set yourself up for success because you know that North Carolina's offense, um, is gonna be raring to go on the other end of the field.
Yeah, I mean
I have been
that's.
tripping I have been tripping up over North Carolina and Northern Colorado all season.
I mean, let's be honest. They're too close
Yeah.
to really be like this. But yeah, I mean, I completely agree with you. This northern or Jeez, I almost did it just now too. This North Carolina team was built to be an offensive juggernaut. I mean, with the signings that they made, they wanted to focus on scoring goals, and they have done that. It just so happens that their defense has played significantly better than expected by some people, me. Um, and I mean, it's shown, but I feel like Tormenta has that kind of exactly like you said with their style being a more run and gun style. I feel like that matches up well against North Carolina's defense. I feel
Yeah.
like Tormenta it can be quicker on counters and can really hurt North Carolina with those counters just because of the sheer amount of just athleticism their forwards have.
And I haven't gone into any sort of deep dives to try to figure out what's going on with Tormenta's defense. They do seem anemic. I just don't know what that weak point is. If it's a tracking issue, if it's a communication issue, if it's just every single team is finding that mismatch and they're going at that mismatch every single week. Um, I don't know exactly what is going on. I'd love to look at several matches to see, what tendencies are leading to goals against Tormenta.
Mhm.
It just means that I need more hours in the day.
Yeah, right, right. I feel like you're right on all of those because if from the matches that I have watched for Tormenta and the matches that really stick out in my head, it's been a combination of those things. It doesn't seem like they have a completely coherent defense, whereas, or I guess what I mean by that is one week you'll have, like you said, a lack of communication. The next week it'll be the individual matchup. The next week it'll be they're not fitting correctly, and it just they're not filling the lanes, and it is just happening every week that they just happen to be bouncing between these breakdowns and these defensive misfires, and they just haven't been able to figure out how to put together. It's almost like the Lexington thing. They can't figure out how to put together a complete performance week in and week out on the defensive front for Tormenta.
Yeah, so I'm having a tough time trying to reason with, this one not going any other way than North Carolina taking 3 points. I'm trying to come up with a way that Tormenta can still salvage some result here. Uh, I don't know. Let me look at something here really quick. But I mean, I think this is going to be a North Carolina win.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the last 5 run of form for both teams, I mean, NCFC 3 wins, 2 losses, and South Georgia Tormenta a win 5 matches ago, then 2 draws and 2 losses. So, um, it's not looking great right now for Tormenta. They've been on a bit of a slide. If they have anything to look forward to, I suppose it would be that NCFC doesn't tend to score a whole hell of a lot at home, and they don't give up a whole hell of a lot away. But that being said, North Carolina doesn't give up a whole hell of a lot of goals at home either. So, um, which is Tormenta's kind of away deal because they're sitting on 2.08 goals away average, and that's going up against North Carolina's 1.15 goals given at home. So, I mean, it's what each team does seems to do best going up against each other.
I think I figured it out. I think I found out how Tormenta fans can convince themselves that there is a way that they can get a result out of this match. I I just looked it up and I think I figured it out.
Here we go.
Since we're in the international window. CONCACAF play is happening right now.
Uh huh.
Olex Anderson, who has been tearing it up in League One,
Mhm.
is playing with Bermuda. Isn't that right? He's with Bermuda?
Off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you, and I don't wanna.
Okay. Um, but then you also have Jane Cervania, who he has been playing with Puerto Rico. And so if they are both out on international uh, leave, I mean, that gives Tormenta a heck of a chance to do some damage this weekend.
Yeah, I think, that is a very good point. Anytime you're missing players like that,
Oh
it's a
no,
big
he's with
deal.
St. Vincent and Grenadines,
Gotcha, yeah.
Oleg Sanderson.
Mhm.
That's right. Okay. Yeah, I was way off with Bermuda. They were playing Bermuda when he scored against them.
Awesome. So, yeah, I
So
mean,
yeah,
half credit. We'll give you half credit on that one.
there we go. Yeah. So, Tormenta fans, there's your opportunity, your window of opportunity right there. You have two key international players that are missing, fulfilling international duty. You are traveling to Cary, North Carolina. You have one of the top scoring teams in the league. You have, oh yeah, second most goals in the league. So, I mean, if you can take that momentum to Cary, North Carolina without those two key players on their roster, I mean, this is your chance for an upset.
It can be done.
So, yeah, I that's a bit of a swing in confidence toward Tormenta fans right there.
Yeah. I mean, I think I'm with you. I still think North Carolina ends up taking this one, but I think it's going to be a closer match than you would have expected just looking at it from a glance.
Yeah. All right. So let's get into predictions. What are you thinking?
I've got North Carolina squeaking out a victory 2-1 and saving a penalty in the 90 plus 5.
Ooh. Ooh. Okay.
The slow
I like
run up
that.
is not going to do it this time for Tormenta.
All right. All right. I like it. So you're saying 2-1 North Carolina?
North Carolina wins it
Okay.
2-1 and saves a penalty in the 90 plus 5 to preserve the W.
Okay. I'm going to go with, oh man, 2-1 sounds really good, but I don't want to call that one at the same time. I'm going to go 1-0 North Carolina. Yeah.
Don't think Tormenta's going to score on the road, huh?
I know that's such a stupid take too.
I don't know that it's a stupid take. I think we'll call it gutsy. Can we call it gutsy?
Yeah. Let me let me see when the last time Tormenta was shut out on the road, because that's a stat for you.
I feel like you're
Last
going to be
time they
looking a
were
little while.
shut out on the road was June 24th against Union Omaha. So it's been 3 months since that, and they've scored in every single away match. Ah, dang it! They're going to score in North Carolina. So what's a good score here? You already took 2-1. Yeah, I'm going to stick with 1-0. I'm sticking with 1-0.
All right.
Yeah. Oh, while we're talking about North Carolina, and we have monikers across the entire league, did you know that North Carolina, okay, this is fans have decided this is, at least a supporter group has decided this is their moniker. Did you know that they had a moniker?
I did not.
Okay, so I found, so the Oak City supporters are a NCFC supporter group,
Mhm.
and in a since deleted tweet, um, when NCFC at one time was the Carolina Railhawks, they went, they didn't want to become the Hawks or anything like that. They rebranded themselves into North Carolina Football Club. At that time, they didn't have a moniker. They still haven't officially, embraced one, but the fans have because in a since deleted tweet, the North Carolina Museum of Natural Sciences confirmed this that Wake Med Soccer Park used to be a processing site where whale bones were buried in manure to clean them of oils, then washed and brought to their collection site.
Really?
So, with that said, the Oak City supporters have embraced the moniker for North Carolina Football Club as the Dead Whales.
I like it.
I love that. That's
Uh,
awesome.
And you know what? It was supporter driven, and that's the best way to do it. You can't have the club make up something like that. It's got to be the supporters. That's the best way to do it. I love it. Let's get it
Yeah,
going.
that's so cool. It's so random. Go for it. It's awesome. Embrace that. Go with it. That's so cool.
Gotta love it.
Yeah.
Lower league soccer, ladies and gentlemen.
Because as I was going through my Twitter feed, I came across an Oak City supporters group tweet, and it said something about the dead whales dot dot dot. And I thought, dead whales, what the hell are they talking about? And so I went to their supporter group website, and they had a whole section in their website where they talked about how they came up with the dead whales. And so in our outline, I screenshotted those tweets and put it in there. Um, Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Again, one of those things that is very cool to see in lower division soccer that I don't feel like you get in any other level of soccer. At least not in this random of a moniker.
Yeah. And I love it because it adds more of that je ne sais quoi of, League One because you have flamingos in Wisconsin and now you have
Mhm.
dead whales in North Carolina. It's random and I love it.
We'll take it.
Yeah. So I thought that was a cool tweet. All right. So let me go over to the YouTube chat, see what we got going on here. Michael is coming in saying Lexington isn't an easy win, but Lex still has only 6 points on the road. This is true. Lexington does only have 6 points on the road. They are far stronger at home. Um, and like we said, yeah, they're still not a team that you can necessarily sleep on. So um, yeah, it's gonna be a tough match for them, but it's gonna be a fun one too.
Mhm.
And then we got Chris coming in, putting the heart emoji in the very beginning when I was talking about the video chat. So it was Chris that I was having that video chat with. So it was awesome to chat with her, Chris. I'm glad you're listening and watching along. Um, and she also came in and commented very random on our NCFC chat there. So that was nice little plug there too. All right, so we got through the predictions for that one. All right, let's jump to the next match. Another match involving one of the top three clubs in the league. This one is Chattanooga hosting Union Omaha.
Yeah.
This one makes me nervous. Um, and the reason I say that is because I don't think that Union Omaha has won at the Den in the all-time history. Oh, they did. They won once there back in 2022.
Mhm.
It was a 1-0 victory in June of 2022. So they have one victory in the Den.
Mhm.
But playing all time there, they only have 2 points out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 matches. One of them was a playoff match. So 4
Mhm.
regular season matches.
Yeah.
So that's still not the greatest all-time record to have when you're heading into the Den. So you know that you're going to be walking into a threatening environment. You know that it's going to be an intense match. Um, this one's going to be a good one. And I don't mind saying it. I invited Brian earlier today, but I'm looking at possibly going to this match. So after I clock out of work tomorrow, um, if if I get enough people interested, I will be making this trip. So updates to come on that situation. Hopefully it happens, but we will see. And hopefully I'll be in Chattanooga watching this one.
That would be awesome. Make sure you get on the TV and start waving because I'll be looking for you.
The one of a handful of people wearing Volt. Yeah,
Yeah.
you'll it'll be pretty easy to see me.
I feel like, yeah. I feel like anytime we have any supporters out there, they're pretty easy to spot. This one doesn't scare me as much. I feel like Union Omaha is right now playing the best soccer out of anybody in the league. And I mean, I don't think that I'm putting myself too much out on a limb there, considering the win streak and everything like that. But um, even if they weren't on this win streak and they were just still playing this way, I don't think there's a whole lot of teams in the league that can threaten them right now. And unfortunately for Chattanooga, they're just definitely not one of those teams for me that I feel like can really push Union Omaha to do anything different than they do every other match day, which is the key for beating this Omaha side is making them play a different style than they have been all season. Because if you watch any of Union Omaha's early season matches when they were on that kind of slide at the beginning of the season, teams were making them do what they wanted Omaha to do. And Omaha was taking the bait and not sticking to what they could do really well. And they've seemed to have figured it out. And to me, not even saying this as a homer pick here, I know I'm wearing all Union Omaha gear again tonight, but um, I really don't think there's a team right now that can beat Omaha if Omaha isn't off of their game, and I just don't see it happening.
So here's why I say that this one makes me nervous. In their past 3, 6, 9, in their last 9 matches, they have one loss at home. Okay, in their last 9 home matches, they have one loss. In that time, they had a draw against Union Omaha, a 3-3 draw, so they kept pace with their scoring.
Mhm,
They beat Madison. They drew with Charlotte. They drew with Hailstorm. They lost to North Carolina 1-2. And they went on to beat Richmond 3-2. They drew with Tormenta, a high scoring Tormenta 4-4. And then they beat Madison again at home 3-1. This is a Chattanooga team that can perform at home.
mhm,
I can't say the same when they go on the road, but when they are at home, they tap into some sort of magic when they're there, and they play up to their opponent, that's for sure.
mhm.
And seeing those type of performances strung out one after another, that's concerning if you're the next one up. In my book, I know that you feel confident. For me, I feel nervous.
Yeah, and I mean that's fair. And I think we know what the X factor is. I mean that stadium and that fan base make a huge difference. They're one of those teams in the league that you can really tell when the team is feeling it because the fans are feeling it. Um, I'm a firm believer in fans can directly impact the outcome of the game, and Chattanooga is one of those places. So even though I'm feeling confident with this, it's definitely not going to be a a small task to go in there and get 3 points. Um, I guess the bright spot as well for Chattanooga is at this point you're playing for pride. So I mean you're I don't I guess technically not out of the playoffs, but for all intents and purposes out of the playoffs. So right now you're playing to have a little bit of pride and give your fans something to cheer for. And what better way than to beat a team that is surging right now and bring them back down to earth a little bit. Um, and I'll say on the flip side for Union Omaha, I feel like it is you don't have to worry about I guess, overlooking an opponent because this team also knocked you out of the playoffs last year. So I feel like there's going to be a little bit of a revenge factor coming into this one as well. And with Central Valley Fuego coming to Omaha next week, it's not going to be in any trouble of looking ahead of Chattanooga as well. So, um, yeah, that to me are just some of the reasons why I feel like Omaha is a little bit better suited to win this match than Chattanooga is.
This is going to be a feisty match.
It
We know
always
that,
is.
yeah, always is. And I hope that doesn't take Union Omaha's focus off of the objective, which is to get the 3 points.
Very good point.
Um, we've seen Union Omaha give up late goals in the match in recent weeks, multiple times in recent weeks. Um, that's concerning as well.
That's kind of Union Omaha's MO, though. I mean,
Yeah.
Union Omaha's always been a team that late lets teams come back late. And I mean, if you look at the playoffs last year against Chattanooga, it was an extra time goal that sealed their fate. So this
Yeah.
is a team that has beat them down this down the stretch, the back half of the match before. So
Chattanooga only has 2 clean sheets at home, which means they give up goals a
mhm,
lot at home. So, with that said, a key factor for Chattanooga in this match is going to be containing the flood as much as possible. Um, there's no guarantee that they're going to get a clean sheet. Obviously, if you only have 2 at home, which gives more confidence to Union Omaha that they'll be able to score more, goals and not get shut out on the road. Um, so for Chattanooga, it's just going to be minimizing the damage as much as possible, and maybe trying to pull Union Omaha's focus off the ball, and maybe you know trying to make it colorful. Um, I mean, if you look at the standings, Chattanooga, they have to win in order to stay in the playoff race. They could be eliminated this weekend with a combination of factors. So they're playing for their season this weekend, and that could lead to some extra emotion.
mhm.
And Union Omaha wants to lock up a playoff spot, so they want to win as much as possible as well. So this one's going to be good. What are you thinking for predictions on this one?
This one's a little bit tougher for me to predict the actual score. I feel like as far as Chattanooga, you've hit the nail on the head. If Chattanooga can do all of the things that you said, they could come out victorious. And I think another factor is Union Omaha is Rashid Nuhu back is Ian McGrain still in at goal? Both capable keepers, but obviously you have a guy in Rashid Nuhu that has won the Golden Glove and Keeper of the Year and everything like that, and you always want to see your starting guy in. But Ian McGrain has filled in very well and has filled in for a lot of this streak that they're on. And then is Noe Mesla back? That's another one because if Chattanooga is going to muddy the waters, which they usually do because they are a very tough physical team, and that's one of the reasons why Chattanooga is such a fun team to watch. Um, you're going to need to score goals early and often to beat them. And if that crowd gets behind Chattanooga, they're definitely going to be doubly dangerous. So that being said, I still feel like Union Omaha, top to bottom, is a more talented squad on a better run. So I'm gonna go 3-0 Union Omaha.
You said how many?
3-0 for
3-0. Yeah.
UL.
And I'm so glad that you were talking down all the voodoo talk today with Dominic Casciato getting coach of the month and Pedro Dolabella getting player of the month. Um,
Yeah.
we don't need to talk about those curses. Don't come into
Nah,
the conversation with all that. Uh-uh.
nah, like I said on
No.
Twitter, I mean, it's like the Jedi mind trick. It only works on the weak minded. So
There you go. So like you, I'm still going with the Union Omaha victory. I think there are concerning factors. I think there are certainly plenty of storylines to go along with this match. At the end of the day, I still think that Union Omaha is going to carry the victory. And like you, I think it's going to be a decisive one. You say 3-0. I'm going to say 3-1. So I still think it's going to be a decisive one, though, but a
fair,
victory nonetheless.
very fair.
All right, let's move past that one. Let's get into, for me,
This is a good one.
this is the match of the weekend, if you ask me. I'm so
Oh,
excited for this one.
easily the match of the weekend. Just like
Oh,
last week with Knox and Madison. This is Knox involved in another game of the week. I tell you, the battle for first place is always fun and interesting, but these battles for relegation or playoff spots are what really gets you going. And especially in this league, I mean, we've had this every single year fighting for playoff spots. So this
yeah.
is a good one.
And we haven't even said who's playing, but hopefully all of you that are watching and listening know exactly who we're talking about. It is One Knox hosting Greenville. Oh, this is gonna be so good.
Yeah, I mean these teams are 1 point away from each other in the standings, both on differing versions of form in the last five. And I mean, if you look at their home and away goals for and home and away goals against, they're within a couple percentage points of each other, a point percentage points of each other. I mean, eh, this is, I don't want to say this is a de facto sixth place match, but I mean, come on. These two teams are going to be battling each other until the end of the season to see who gets into the playoffs and who gets left out.
Yep.
And it's an insane battle of two very defensive minded teams. So it somebody's got to score, right? It's in this match somebody's got to score. Do you put more emphasis in Greenville's defense? Do you put more emphasis in One Knox's defense? Greenville usually plays well on defense, but One Knox has just been lights out on defense this year. Um, God, it's so close. I don't. This one has me thrown for a loop, and I really have to think more about it as we're talking here because I don't. I just don't know who's going to win this.
Yeah, this one, okay. As we look at this one, even looking at all the stats that we have here in front of us, it's still so tough.
These are essentially the same team wearing different
Exactly.
uniforms.
All right, so Greenville, this is so tough because Greenville has the easiest schedule to finish the season. They have an easier schedule than One Knox. They have better odds of making the playoffs than One Knox. But this right here is where you can set your stake in the whole claim of that playoff spot. This is it.
Hmm.
Oh man, this is gonna be such a fun one to watch. So they've split the results this season. Greenville has one win, one Knox has the other. Both the matches were at Greenville at Furman Stadium or Paladin Stadium, sorry, Furman's campus. Oh man, aggregate is 2-2, but Greenville hasn't been playing as great as of late. You have one Knox who is playing significantly better than them. One Knox, okay, I really wanted to put one Knox higher in our power rankings for this week. And in doing so, I felt bad because I was going to be punishing Charlotte in the process. Because even though they had a 3-0 victory, Charlotte would have fallen in our rankings, and I felt bad.
Mhm.
Um, I'm not saying that I'm going out here manipulating the power rankings. I'm saying that I had my power rankings set when I did the averages. I saw what was happening. I saw where I wanted to put one Knox originally, and I knew what the results were going to be. Whatever, you know what I'm saying.
Yep.
Um, One Knox is undefeated in their last 5. They have 3 wins, 2 draws, and some of those like they drew against Charlotte. They beat Tormenta in Statesboro. Oh man, I'm gonna go with oh man, trying to commit to a team in this one. Okay, are we already doing predictions, or are we just, or are we still talking? Because I'm sitting here, I just want to jump straight into predictions.
No, we can do whatever you're feeling. Like I said, this is such a tough one. And I've I feel like both of fans of these teams are going to be like, "Well, you guys spent a whole lot of time on these other ones." But we spent a whole lot of times because the team is so much different that are playing each other. This you are playing yourself in this match. So it's hard to say like which attack is going to be better. Well, their attack is both mid. Which defense is going to be better? Well, they're both of their defenses are great. So
Yeah,
I, I really don't have an idea. Um, it's I feel like I guess we could go into it a little bit. I feel like Greenville has to have the edge a little bit in this match, and it comes down to the coaching staff being in the league since its inception, right? And you have John Harkes, who is a proven winner at Greenville, against a proven winner for League Two in One Knox, right? So, God, I feel like the nod has to go a little bit more towards Greenville's way. And you know what? It's like if anybody here has played NCAA 14, you know how they have like the offense and defensive like needle that goes back and forth to see which is better. I feel like this match it's just straight in the middle on every single
yep,
stat.
yep.
Like I said, same team playing each other.
I think that's the perfect way of saying it too. I don't think I could say it any better than that. Um, yeah. Oh man. I mean, you have Jared Mazzola on one side, you have Sean Lewis on the other, both very good keepers
Hmm.
who are among the leaders in goalkeeping stats throughout the season.
Like, isn't Sean Lewis still leading for Golden Glove?
I think you're right because Austin Pack, I think he dropped back a little. I think Sean Lewis is leading right now. I think you're right. Um, and then moving forward, you have two stout defenses, solid
Hmm.
midfields. I would maybe give the midfield edge to Greenville, but ever so slightly. Um, Greenville certainly has the scoring power. They haven't been as productive in recent weeks, but they certainly have the capability to do so.
Mm.
Oh man, I'm going with a one Knox victory on this one. Um, oh, what's the score line though? I'll go 1-0. I'll do another 1-0
1-0 in favor of Knox.
in Knox. Yeah, for Knox.
I'm going to go the opposite, a 1-0 Greenville victory.
Ooh. All right.
And I think it's just going to come down to Greenville and John Harkes have done it. They know how to get into the playoffs. They know how to do it. And that's it.
Yeah.
I'm hanging my hat on John Harkes.
He's certainly the coach or a coach, one of the best coaches in the league, especially making those adjustments on the fly.
Mm-hmm.
Uh oh man. So here's a juicy storyline for this one. If one Knox beats Greenville, they jump Greenville and they're back in the playoff discussion for the first times. Little impromptu research here. Last time they were back in week 15 in late June. Yeah, man, back in late June. So, but if you look at their recent stats, in their last five, they have 11 points, which is only behind Union Omaha, who is, 5 for 5 for victories.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have Northern Colorado, who has 4 straight wins and a draw.
Mm-hmm.
So behind those two teams who are red hot and on streaks at the moment, you have one Knox who has 3 victories and 2 draws in their last 5.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a team that's playing with confidence. Um, Greenville in their last 5 has 5 points. They have 1 win and 2 draws.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man. Okay, so you're saying Greenville 1-0, and I'm saying one Knox 1-0.
Yes, sir.
Oh, that's gonna be such a good one.
Got bragging rights on the line. Next show. Whoever wins
Yeah.
that one gets the bragging rights. One thing to definitely look out for as well is whoever wins this match comes within either 1 or 2 points of Forward Madison in that 5th spot as well.
I
So
can't wait to be double screening that match while I'm sitting there in the den. Like everyone's cheering around me, and I'm sitting there watching the match, and I'm looking around saying, "Hey, can you shut up? I'm watching the game."
I love it. Oh man, I love it. This is the best time of the year, and I'm good with it. Let's get it going. Can these matches start tonight? That's my only. We had a good one earlier. Let's get the rest of them on tonight. That would have been terrific. I would have stayed up
Yep.
all night and gone to work with no sleep at all.
Yep. All right, so we go from one match with very little confidence to a match where I feel like you and I both have a lot of confidence in the result of this one. So Saturday night, League One After Dark, we have Central Valley Fuego hosting Northern Colorado, and two teams on opposite ends of every spectrum you want to look
Yep.
at.
Yeah. Yeah. Fuego. Fuego has not been good this season. I don't think anybody is gonna argue that point. I don't think anybody can get mad about that point. But silver linings is Fuego generally does not get blown out by anybody.
Yeah.
Fuego generally plays top teams pretty damn close. And Northern Colorado is one of those teams that I feel like will get frustrated by a team that I can't even, I don't want to keep beating up on Fuego, but I feel like they will get frustrated by a team that they probably see, as most people who watch the league do, as an inferior team. Keeping up with them, especially in Central Valley, I feel like if Central Valley can really muddy this game up and get Northern Colorado into some card trouble or some frustration trouble, there is a chance that Fuego could pull out a draw in this one.
Hmm.
And a draw for Fuego right now against a red hot hailstorm team is a win. That game, that's a momentum builder that moves momentum forward, and it can be done. I feel like Fuego, if any team in the league can frustrate a top tier team, it's going to be Fuego.
And I'm looking at Fuego's series results here. And since Fuego and Northern Colorado have only played twice, I wanted to look at the goal differential, the aggregate through two matches against the other League One clubs. Only one club has a better aggregate against Fuego through two matches, and that's Greenville. Right now, Northern Colorado has a 5-1 aggregate. Greenville has a 4-0 aggregate on Central Valley. Every other team has a closer aggregate. I'm talking within one or two goals.
Mm-hmm.
Just doing quick math here. So yeah, you're entirely right in that Fuego does a good job of containing other teams and keeping it close for the entire match.
And I mean, that being said, I probably should have scrolled down just a little bit and seen that in week 11, Northern Colorado beat Fuego 4-1. Um, but then I'm justified in Fuego lost to Northern Colorado 1-0 in week 15. So they definitely did better the second time around. Maybe third time's a charm for Fuego. Um, I mean, that being said, I still think Northern Colorado probably wins this match.
Yeah.
I think it'll be close. I think Fuego, as they've been tending to do as of late, will jump out to a 1-0 lead early. But then I think Northern Colorado ends up finishing out the match and just talent takes over. And I feel like Hailstorm's going to take this 3-1.
Yeah, I think the wheels have fallen off for Fuego. I am going to go with a Northern Colorado victory, and I'm going to say, oh man, I'm going to say 4-0.
Oof.
Yeah. Um, yeah. I'm going to say 4-0.
I feel like that's fair. And I mean, maybe I'm just trying to grease the wheels on me being appointed head coach of Central Valley, which we already figured out last week was happening for sure. And maybe that's just my play, but yeah, I honestly could see, I could see Northern Colorado completely dominating this match as well.
John Perlman's going to take time out of his busy day or his busy schedule to meet you at the airport and welcome you to the Southwest.
That sounds terrific to me. I would love to
Yeah.
hang out with that man.
All right, let's move on to the last match of week 27, which is Lexington hosting Charlotte. This one has some, oh man, some intrigue to it as well.
Hmm.
Lexington is another one of those clubs that is playing for its survival. Although I believe if I do some quick math here, so they have 5 matches left. That's 15 points. They could get to 46. Okay, so they still survive after this week. But they got to get hot real quick.
Hmm.
And I mean, they have a win over Charlotte. They did beat them in week 9 with a 1-0 score at home, and Lexington is hosting again.
Hmm.
So we'll see. Lexington is far better at home than they are on the road.
Yes.
And Charlotte is far better at home. They don't play as well on the road. So that gives some confidence to Lexington as well.
Yeah, and
Um,
I think the biggest thing that Lexington should um, have some confidence with is they have 5 home clean sheets.
oh, yeah.
They don't give up a whole lot of goals at home. Um, and that's definitely something to hang your hat on. And I mean, Lexington, again, I'm just going to reiterate, I'm sure everybody is already like, oh, yeah, we know exactly where you're going with this. Lexington get consistent and that they are a great team. They are just inconsistent as hell. And if there's ever a time to build that consistency, it's right now. So if they can continue their home their home streak of playing very well, I feel like this is a match that could possibly go Lexington's way. Um, Obviously with the guys that they have on defense and um, oh, why am I blanking on the keeper's name? Knight,
Yeah. I'm all night.
Amal Knight. With Amal Knight in goal, we've seen him stand on his head and make some big saves. Um, and I feel like that is something that he's going to have to do against this Independence team. And I don't know that there's a keeper in this league better suited to make amazing saves than Amal Knight. I think if you want highlight reel saves, you have to look at him. So it's going to take a Herculean effort from him. Um, but I feel like it can be done. I feel like Lexington is a much better team than they have played like all season long. Um, and again, it's the consistency issue, but they'll have to figure it out. And I'm not high on this Charlotte team either. We've talked about it before. They've kind of quietly had a very good season, but you don't hear a whole lot about Charlotte. And we don't talk about Charlotte a whole lot. They don't do it flashy, but they get it done. Um, man, this is going to be another one of those matches that is really good to watch. The last half of the season has been amazing with how many good matches we've had.
So I hate to say this about this match, but it's entirely true. This match, of all the matches in week 27 in the league, has the least consequence on league or the standings in the table.
Hmm.
Charlotte is securely in place there in 4th place. Lexington, while they're playing for their survival, don't have the greatest odds of making it to the playoffs in the first place.
Hmm.
So a win for either team doesn't really change the landscape a whole lot um, for each of their places in the table. So there may not be as many eyes on this match. Doesn't mean there's not going to be any drama or great performances because we definitely know that there is going to be of both of those in this match. Um, I will say from Charlotte's perspective, this is where you change your identity. This is where because for so many weeks in a row, we've been talking about how Charlotte is so much better at home. They don't play as well on the road. With the playoffs coming and they're in 4th place, they're gonna they're more than likely gonna be hosting a first round match. But they need to start preparing here and now for that road match in the very next round. If they truly want to contend for the cup, they have to change their performances on the road. What better place to start doing that than in Lexington? Because they play so well at home. So for Charlotte, yes, you're playing for 3 points, but you're playing for something a whole lot bigger here. And I think that should be a motivating factor when they head into this match.
Yeah, I agree. Really couldn't have said it any better than that. Um, that being said, though, I feel like Lexington is too dominant at home, and I I got to give the nod to Lexington in this one. I think Lexington's going to pull out a 2-0 victory.
Oh, 2-0.
So that'll put them up at 6 clean sheets at home, and I will have another week to sit here and complain about how goddamn inconsistent this team is and how good they could be if they could get their act together every single week.
Oh,
Maybe I've been listening to too much of Tyler recently, um, and maybe he's rubbing off on me. His his passion for the team is kind of rubbing off on me a little bit. But man, yeah, that's what I'm going with. And I actually this is one of my more confident picks this week.
Tyler has that eternal optimism that's infectious.
It is because I am a 100% pessimist. So if it's rubbing off on me this much, it's got to be. It's got to be his optimism.
And if you watch those Lexington broadcasts, when they host a match, it's a good atmosphere.
Hmm.
I
Oh
really
yeah.
look forward to seeing a match in Lexington one day. All right. So for my prediction, oh, I'm going to go. I was going to cheat. I'm going to go 1-1. I'm going to go with the 1-1 draw.
Yep. I feel like
Yeah.
that's fair as well. Honestly, this I have not been like. I mean, I have not been super impressed with Charlotte's play. I think they're a solid team, but I don't think they are a world beating team. I don't think they can completely come in and just outplay most teams. I think they have talent that is more consistent and quietly does their job and goes home.
Yeah.
So I could totally see this being a draw, um, as well as my prediction for Lexington.
And before we move on, we'd be remiss if we did not send a huge shout out to Clay Dimmick, who plays for Charlotte.
Hmm.
He had a surgery recently and posted on social media about his the start of his recovery process. Um, Clay, if you're watching, if you're listening, um, we're 100% behind you. We're glad that you're on the road to recovery. We wish you a speedy recovery, and we look forward to watching you play next season.
Yeah, it's one of those players that is so fun to watch. That the league is better with him in it. So
Yeah.
um, definitely speedy recovery and hope everything works out really well for you. Um, and definitely want to see you back on the pitch as soon as you deem yourself ready to get back out there.
Yeah.
But of course, follow follow what the doctors order as well, because
Exactly.
I know he's probably sitting there. I'm ready to go now, but obviously, when you are able to get back, I would love to see you back.
Yep. All right, let's jump into YouTube chats here. We got Tim saying, if my eyes are right, Charlotte has not beaten any of the top three on the road this year. Ooh, let me double check that here really quick. I can look that up here. Impromptu research. Against North Carolina, away they drew, away they lost. North Northern Colorado, away they lost, away they lost. Omaha, they have not played Omaha on the road yet. So, yes, Tyler. I'm sorry. Oh my gosh, Tim, you are correct. He also says, I see a draw at North Carolina and a draw at Union Omaha, but no wins. Yes, that's correct. Yep, I just looked that up too. April 19th. Yep, yep.
Hmm. Yep, a nil-nil draw.
Yeah,
And interestingly enough, they will be playing Union Omaha at Union Omaha on October 4th.
that's gonna be a good one. I can't wait for that one. Seeing Miguel Ibarra on the field at Warner, I really like watching Miguel Ibarra play.
Hmm.
Um, Not gonna lie, when I watch Charlotte matches, he's one of he's like the guy that I watch most of the time when I'm watching Charlotte. I really, really like watching him play.
Hmm. I think the only complaint that I have about that match is it is the final home match of the year and it is a Wednesday night.
Oh, that's right, it is. Yeah. Oh, that's rough.
No bueno. We do not like that. But
Yep.
maybe another $2 beer night? Fingers crossed.
Let's hope so.
We'll see.
Chris coming in saying penguins are seldom wrong. Yes, you are correct there as well.
Hmm.
Um, and Tim coming back in here saying, but Gary will be in town. Yes, that's also true. Gary will make an appearance for
Hmm.
those matches, so
Yep.
that'll be cool.
Owner of Union Omaha be in town.
Yeah. I think we should have like a stinger for whenever Tim helps us out with some awesome research piece. Like, I don't know. Brian, you have the good singing voice. Give us something real quick.
Oh, that is definitely not happening. I can tell you that right now. If it was another night when I was drinking on the pod, maybe. Then maybe you'd get that. But a stone cold sober me on the pod? No. Not no. Chris says take a drink when Tim brings it. Oh
Yeah.
man. With how often Tim helps us out with stuff, I feel like me and Rich would both be unable to go to work tomorrow if that were the case.
Yeah, I'd be worse than that summer beer episode.
Tim also saying why NDA, he'll never drink alone. Love it. Got to get the Liverpool reference in there. Appreciate you,
Yep.
Tim.
And for anybody who does not know this or follow Tim at Ranting Blue Penguin Media, he is doing a interview with OL Reigns supporter group. Oh, what are they called? The Royal Guard.
That is the
So
coolest name for a supporters group I've ever heard in my entire life.
yeah,
I love that.
yeah. So he's going to have that interview coming out here pretty soon. And so if you follow him on social media, be prepared to see and hear that interview here pretty soon because that's going to be pretty dang cool. I'm excited for that one.
Looking forward to it big time.
Yeah. So now let's get into the Q&A, and we actually have a couple submitted by Tim. And the first one he asks is, "What do you make of Fuego immediately signing an international player about a week after getting rid of midfielder Ozzy Ramos for that slot?" So to give some reference to that, uh, Central Valley recently signed. Oh, I'm gonna butcher his name, but I'm gonna try anyways.
That's on brand.
Um, I think it's like Kudus Lawal. He's Nigerian, if I remember correctly. They already signed him to a 3-year contract.
Wow.
Yeah, and this is coming on the heels of them shipping Ozzy Ramos off to Forward Madison. So, Brian, what do you make of that signing?
They have had this signing planned for a long time. That's about it. They found the player that they could ship out and get an international spot. Um, they probably already had that in their head when they started shopping around. And when Madison came back with a, well, hey, we'll give you an international spot for him, they took it right away. They already knew exactly what they wanted to do and the direction they want to take the club. Um, that's my take on it, at least.
Yeah, um I haven't watched any of his film. I don't know. I haven't reviewed a whole lot of his stats or anything. I was doing prep elsewhere with league news and everything. Um, I think it's a vote of confidence for Central Valley Fuego fans to see them making this kind of a signing. Um, Once again, I haven't done any of like the film research or stats or anything like that. But the fact that you're bringing in an international forward on a 3-year deal should give you confidence as a fan that despite the turmoil that we've seen associated with the club recently, there's there's a picture, there's an idea of what they want the club to become, and they have a 3-year picture in mind enough to incorporate this singular player in that image. And so hopefully it pans out, hopefully it works well for them, and hopefully he has success in the league, um, just not against Union Omaha.
Of course.
Tim followed that question up with a question about Richmond. Is current head coach Darren Sawatsky back at Richmond next season?
Yeah, I feel like you can't ship out somebody like him for a bad season after winning the regular season title last year. I mean, that I feel like that's a little bit of a knee jerk reaction to this. Yeah, I see him back, um, and I think it's probably the right call. I think Darren is the guy that knows how to win, obviously because he's done it. Um, it just might take a little bit of retooling, and I mean you can't win them all. So I mean this sport it only takes a few bad breaks, and you see what happened to Richmond this season as opposed to last season.
Yeah, I think he's back too. Um, I think it would be a knee-jerk reaction to get rid of Sawatsky. Um, he's done some very good things for that club. He's helped enrich that history. He's brought fans back to City Stadium.
Yeah, it
I think
brought
it would
them
be a
back
huge mi
in
I would be a huge.
droves.
Yeah, exactly. I think it would be a huge mistake if they got rid of Sawatsky.
Yeah,
So, yeah, I think he'll be back next season. We did not go over any league news, so we can go over that really quick.
yeah.
Um, Let me go back up to in the outline here. Speaking of Richmond, they did sign another teenager to a professional contract. This time it was 16-year-old forward Landon Johnson, who becomes the first academy player to sign a professional contract under Darren Sawatsky. And he is the youngest professional player to sign directly with the Kickers. So I just like we were talking about with Sawatsky, I think this is a good move for the club. I think it's a good move for Sawatsky, and I think it's a good move for Landon Johnson.
Yeah, I agree.
I We've seen. Oh, I can't remember what his name is, but he was playing tonight. I remember hearing his name in the broadcast. Um, they've had success with the other teenager that was, excuse me,
Oh, yeah.
playing with the
Um,
club.
I don't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah. But they had success with him, and I mean, I think he even had a strong night tonight. So, aside from the team losing,
Sure.
um, so signing another 16-year-old with the full commitment to developing him into a much better player, performer for that club, I think it's going to yield good results for the Kickers. For Tormenta, their defender Deshaun Nemhard was called up to the Belize national team for their match in the CONCACAF Nations League. The Belize national team plays tomorrow against St. Vincent and the Grenadines at 3 p.m. Central Time, 4 p.m. Eastern Time on Paramount Plus. So if you want a little League One versus League One here, you got Deshaun Nemhard versus Olix Anderson.
Love to see it.
Just
We need
yeah,
more of
just
that in the
making that
league.
connection here. That's cool. Oh man, if only I didn't have to work tomorrow. Dang it.
I'll be just getting home from work for the second
Oh,
half, maybe.
that'll be me taking my lunch break.
There you go.
So I could probably see like some of the first half. All right, so now we get into a bit of a touchy subject that we encountered this week in League One. The fan scuffle there in um oh my gosh, in Fresno with
Mhm.
Lexington coming off the field. All night was in, face to face with some Central Valley Fuego fans and looked like there was a bit of a shove here or there.
Mhm.
Not a good scene
No.
all around. Um, Certainly doesn't help with the image that Fuego's trying to repair out there in Fresno.
Mhm.
We don't know the entire story here. We don't know the full context of the situation, but still, it just doesn't look good to have a video recording of one of your fans pushing them all night. It also doesn't look good seeing them all night taking a glove off and throwing it at the fan.
Mhm.
It just doesn't look good all around. I I just hate to see it.
Yeah.
The Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I am definitely um how do I want to word this without it sounding weird? I'm not somebody that feels like players should be exempt from a little bit of ribbing. I do it at every single match that I attend. But there is definitely a line that you don't cross. You keep it about soccer, and you no personal stuff, and you definitely don't get into physical altercations with players. Once that match ends, it ends there. And unfortunately, it didn't in Central Valley, and there's blame that obviously needs to go on both sides. I feel like, or all three sides. I feel like the fan for Central Valley took that way too far and deserves whatever punishment comes his way. Um, I feel like Amal Knight should, I want to say, have thicker skin. Obviously, I'm not in the same position as Amal is. Um, I never have been, so I guess I can't completely comment on it. Um, and like you said, Rich, we don't have the full context of the situation, so who knows what could have been said that led up to a reaction that way as well. Um, but the third thing that really needs to be looked at is why are fans able to get that close to players leaving the pitch without a security escort out? Um, whether it was just a breakdown in security or whatever it was, it's something that can't happen again. And obviously, the players association for whatever they call it for League One, is
USLPA.
yeah, or is going to take a hard look into this and is going to make sure that this kind of thing doesn't happen again, as it should never happen. Um, just unfortunate and a bad look all around. And um, I think Fuego came out. Didn't they come out and have a statement that they're actively trying to find out who it was to keep them out of matches moving forward, which I feel like is the very least that should happen in that situation.
Yeah.
Um, it can't happen, and I don't want to see it happen anymore at all in any level. Like I said, you a little bit of ribbing during the match, cool. As soon as the match ends, it's over.
Yeah. If you are that fan who got in that confrontation with him all night and you put your hands on him, you deserve a lifetime ban.
Hmm.
I I'm not hesitating from that punishment. You do not deserve a chance to go back to that stadium to watch another soccer match. That's unacceptable behavior. You cannot do that.
Yep.
For Central Valley Fuego, they need to step up their operations. They need to step up their security so that players feel safe. They can move from the field to the locker room in a safe manner without any, I don't know, feelings of physical, um, I don't know, intimidation or anything like that. If people are gonna be, chirping at you, that's fine, whatever. You can walk down the tunnel and just ignore it. But if you are encountered in a physical manner by fans on the way to the locker room, that's unacceptable. That should never be allowed to happen.
Yep.
So, whatever operations need to happen in Fresno to make that um, never happen again, do it.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah,
that should definitely be priority number one right now for
yeah,
Central Valley. Um,
yeah.
yeah, I think we pretty much exhausted everything there. I mean,
I agree.
it is what it is at this point. We'll have to just move forward.
Yep. With that said, we have a very exciting set of matches this weekend. Um, so, just to recap, I mean, we have a double derby week. So we had one derby tonight with the Henny Derby. We have the Fire and Ice Derby later on this weekend. Um, you have two series that are split with either side having one win with North Carolina and Tormenta, and then Lexington and Charlotte. So those series will both be decided this weekend. And then you have Northern Colorado, who could have a clean sweep over Central Valley. We already talked about the Fire and Ice Derby there, or Derby, sorry. And then you have the Owls going into the Den to try to get 9 wins in that streak. And then you have the match of the weekend, which is the huge playoff implications between One Knox and Greenville. This is going to be an exciting week of League One soccer.
And I mean, you have the opportunity for three teams to clinch playoff positions. Um, so yeah, I mean, if uh, if you're not watching this weekend, I feel kind of sorry for you because it's going to be a good weekend.
Yeah, yeah. If you are watching at home, if you are watching in the stadium, have a great time. Cheer on your team. Um, and be safe, have fun, yeah, all that stuff. Have yourself a great rest of the week 27.
Definitely.
Brian, you got anything else?
I do not. I'm good.
Cool. All right, well, in that case, we will see you next week for another batch of previews and USL League One talks. So thanks for joining for another episode of League One on the Rocks, and we will see you next week.
All right. Thanks, guys.